This just in, the Fed just did a rate cut and it's 50 basis points. And I called it and I told you guys, and you guys did not believe. You guys were screaming, it's going to be hyperinflation. So it's not going to happen. And I was in Park City, Utah. I was gone for a little while. I took some time off with wifey, so I didn't upload every day. I had some park time where I went into the park. I went to see some elk, some mooses, and I got some pictures right here. That's what we were trying to do. And now I am back working, so you'll see videos every day again. And there's another bombshell of Amazon that dropped while I was gone. And I wanted to make all these videos, but I just didn't have the time. I had to put some family time in off the internet. And so it is brutal. Amazon called everybody back to the office. And if you were remote or not, you gotta come back. So let's start off with the Fed. Holy macaroni. Fed cut 50 basis points. I called it. For all you guys that were saying it's gonna cause hyperinflation, all this other stuff, no, it's not. Calm down. It will be fine. You know why? Because we had all these layoffs. We're having so many layoffs. It will be fine because all these people have to pull back their spending. So hyperinflation won't come. I'll tell you that. And I got somebody on TikTok explaining what happened today.
Breaking news. The Fed meeting results are out, and it's pretty historical. Let's see what happened and what Powell said. First, the Fed lowered interest rates by 50 basis points, between 4.75 to 5%. This supersized rate cut is not totally a surprise, since this is what Kalshi's prediction market was pricing in yesterday. Second, we got the dot plot showing how many rate cuts the Fed expects this year. They forecast 2 more rate cuts this year, then 4 additional cuts in 2025. On Kalshi's prediction market, traders are expecting between 4 and 5 rate cuts for 2024. By the way, Jerome Powell said the economy is strong overall. He added the job market cooled down, but the Fed remains confident its strength can be maintained. He said inflation has eased over the past years, and the upside risks of inflation have diminished. Finally, Jerome Powell said the Fed was moving toward a more neutral stance. The market doesn't seem to like it. On one side, Powell says everything is
Okay, don't ever listen what the Fed says. They're a bunch of liars. Just look at their actions when unemployment skyrocketed and everything else is going through the roof. Prices, everything. You got to be worried. You got to start being worried. And this is the only way how this whole thing isn't going to go up in smokes. What am I talking about, the whole thing? Well, there is a bunch of commercial real estate that is going to be maturing at the end of this year. So what does that mean? So if you're in the real estate world like I am, and I like to do smaller deals, not these huge big ones, but when you take out huge commercial loans, they go 3, 5, or 7 years most of the time. And yeah, you can do longer depending on what you got, but most of the time it's 3, 5, or 7 years. And you put a fixed interest rate on that. And then after that, the bank says it's time to refinance. And what happened during the last 7 years, the last 5 years, we had low interest rates. So what does that mean? That means when there was low interest rates, values were super high and people charged a premium, and capitalization rate, I have the word up here, were low because interest rates were low. And so now people bought 4 caps, 5 caps, and now the interest rate is going up like crazy. And now what's happening is that they gotta refinance, and all of a sudden all these properties that they got are not cash flowing anymore. So what does that mean? That means that the loan that renews at this new interest rate is going to be higher than they're actually making. So they bought it at a low cap rate and now they're refinancing, and so that means the loan amount that they have to pay is higher than it was before, and now their building isn't profitable anymore. And with the work from home and all this other stuff, they're in trouble. So what do? You either give it back to the bank or you figure something out. And in order for the whole system not to collapse, you have to force people back to the office, right? So this is what Amazon's doing. Amazon is doing, everybody was remote in 2019, and I have some statistics right here showing the percentages, and it's absolutely bananas because people thought, and people actually took this by the word and said, you're remote, indefinite, so just go and move. Dell did it, Amazon did it, and tech companies in the Bay Area did it. So what did that mean? That meant that a bunch of people said, huh, I'm going to be smart. Let's move to a cheaper state. Let's move to Florida. Let's move to Texas. And hundreds of thousands of people did that. Hundreds of thousands of people moved to Cape Coral from Chicago, from all over the United States working remote. What did that do? That drove the prices up in Cape Coral tremendously, tripled in value or doubled in value. And they just had a blast. These sellers had such an amazing time because they got offers 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 100,000 over asking price when they were selling. So now, with a tech salary, you can do all that. When you sold your house in the Bay Area for $1 million or more, or 2 million, and then it's like, spending 400, 500, 600,000 on a house in Florida isn't an issue, right? Till it wasn't, till it is now. Because now what we're seeing is really, really interesting. Everybody that sold in the Bay Area and moved away is now forced to come back. Everybody has back to office mandates. And now you're like, oh gosh, so now you gotta sell. And now you see these red dots right here. You see these red dots? Those are houses for sale. And some of them have motivated seller, accepting any offers. They just need to get out. They need to move back. They need to get out. If they were smart, they would have rented out their house in California or New York and just rented one down there for a few years. But people got greedy. People think that a short period of time is going to be the new norm. And then they moved. They thought that life couldn't be better. They bought a boat. They got all these fancy toys. And now all of a sudden, oh, you got to go back. So if you didn't rent out your house, then you got to buy it this time. So you got to sell it. And now everybody's selling because everybody's in the same boat. So what does that do? That puts downward pressure on the houses, right? So if you're having a house that you wanted 500,000 for, but your neighbor just lists theirs for 480 that looks similar, then what do? You list it at 460. Then your neighbor sees, oh, it's 460, so I got to do it for 440 because I need to get out now. And then you get into a competing battle. And that's what's happening. So people are starting to compete, right? Because they gotta get rid of their houses. They gotta get rid of it. Interest rates are coming down, and realtors are gonna tell you, oh, people are gonna flood the housing market. People are gonna flood and just buy it all up. Not so quick, not so quick, my friends, because people don't have the money as they did during COVID. When there was 2019, 2018, people didn't do these chase money glitches that were fraudulent. People got stimulus money and all this other stuff. But now it is different. Right now, we're in a different world. People don't have money, people don't have jobs. And which bank is going to allow you to close on a house if employment's not there anymore? So if you just lost your job and you're 2 days before closing, they're not going to underwrite you the loan. They have way more stipulations now. So you're out of luck. And to top it all off, we're seeing credit card debt skyrocketing, repo skyrocketing, and all these other things coming down the pipeline. And I warned you guys, be careful. So if you are still looking for a job, because if you're going to this season of holidays and all that's going to be even harder. So Ali's Community is hosting a free event coming up tomorrow, and I'm going to have it in the about section of my profile. So go check it out or connect with me on LinkedIn and I'll get you a free invite so you guys can come and see and ask questions to qualified people that are actually in the area of actually hiring recruiters and all that other stuff. So be ready, join the call. I'll put it on the screen when it is, and just join the call. I will be there too, and hopefully I can help you guys out, land another job. Completely free, don't worry about it. So back to the video. Now what we're seeing is all these people need to move back. All these people need to move back, right? It's crazy. With Amazon, 5-day back to the office, you had a good time, and now you gotta go back to New York. And now these people that had discounted rent and had time to buy something in New York or these big cities were in luck, right? They're like, everybody's leaving. Let me just gabble up something. Let me just buy something, absorb it. And now you got to go rebuy your house in the Bay Area or you got to rent. And you just lost out on a huge chunk of money. Because if you bought in Florida and now you got to sell, and now you're discounting your house $100,000, $200,000. If you're making $500,000 a year, you're fine. You can make that up in no time. But if you're only making 120,000, 160, and you're gonna have to take a $300,000 loss with compound interest over time, that's a huge detrimental mistake you did for a few months or a year or two of good times. And all these friends that you had in Florida are now saying, I got to move back. And me and Ali almost have been in the same boat where they said, come back to the office. And we were like, no. And it was a remote job. So I'm speaking to you guys out of experience. I'm not talking to you guys out of what ifs. Ali was in a startup and they said, you should come back to the office. She said, I'm remote. And then she found another company that was 100% remote. So I'm not talking to you guys hypothetical scenarios here. No, I actually lived it. So now what do? Well, you got to invest your money wisely. You got to be on top of your game and just figure out where your next move's going to be. If you're in that spot that actually bought in Florida and is now trying to move out, see if you can convert it to a long-term rental and try to get it rented. It's going to be tough, but hey, at least you're making something out of it, because you might have a good location where somebody's going to rent it for a few $1,000s a month, and it can be at least cost covering till the market kind of catches themselves, because there's a saying that says never catch a falling knife. So you just got to be aware of all these market conditions that are going on. And I don't think with 50 basis points, you guys let me know in the comments below if 50 basis points is going to be enough to stimulate the economy. And we're seeing next year there's going to be a few more rate cuts. So do I think that we're going to see a better economy? No, not for the near foreseeable future. I think at the end of 2025, maybe, but before that, it's not looking really good. Till then, it's hunkered down, save money, and trying to not splur on big purchases. If you're anybody, basically, business owners, defer them as long as you can. If you're in your personal life, trying to defer them as long as you can, because you don't know if you're going to get laid off. Because even in that Amazon memo that they said we're asking everybody to come back, they're saying that they're going to flatten the organization and they're going to let go of some managers. So when Amazon is letting go managers, that's an issue. That is an issue. So be aware of where the market is going. And that's why, if you haven't, please like and subscribe, because I've been telling you guys this for a long time, but people didn't believe me. Now we're seeing it. And I don't want you guys to fail. I have no interest in you guys losing money, doing stupid moves, and not succeeding. What I want you guys to do is take my advice, watch another few YouTubers, and then make decisions based off of that. Do your own research, read about it, see about market trends, and then figuring out, is this the next best move? And look at what Warren Buffett's doing. If Warren Buffett is sitting on a bunch of cash and he's one of the smartest people out there in the financial market, it's probably smart if you sit on a bunch of cash too, and not just dive into everything that your crypto guru or whatever else is saying, because most likely it's not going to work out for you. So be aware, because it's coming. And I don't think we've seen the worst yet, but it's going to get better. In 6 months, there's going to be a little bit more jobs. In a year, there's going to be a lot more jobs. But be very, very aware that you got to get jobs now, before this winter season, before the holidays come in. Because why? 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 Well, pretty simple. In holiday time, people need to use their PTO. Some companies have PTO that's called use it or lose it. So if you're not going to use your PTO, then you're just going to lose it. So it's going to make it harder to schedule interviews. It's going to make it harder for organizations to say, oh, we're going to have the fourth quarter, we're not going to hire too many people. And then you got to wait till February. So it's really, really, really important that you get a job interviews lined up now, before Thanksgiving, because when Thanksgiving season comes around, people go on leave, they have vacations and all this other stuff. They're hanging out with families. Then they might be sick. The flu season's coming, and then it's just going to prolong the interview process, and you're going to have to wait longer for a paycheck if you need one. So get your job today and be ready to move. So it's interesting because I just was on a coaching call the other day from Allie's career coach, career catalyst, and this one woman said she and her husband moved to Florida because her husband had this great opportunity in hospitality, and now they just fired him. And now she's like, I want to go back to work because I'm an engineer. He had this great opportunity and he was making a lot of money, and now they just let him go. And now I'm like, so where are you guys looking? And they're like, well, we're looking for half of the salaries and we're looking for anywhere in the United States. So they're in Florida right now. They're saying, if we get anything, she's like, I'm applying across the United States just to get anything. And she said, if we get something, we're out tomorrow. If they need us, and she has 2 kids. And she said, if I get an interview in person that's in Seattle, she's like, I'm on a plane and I'm there the next morning to do it. And this is absolutely crazy. The amount, I don't even know how to say this, but the amount of willingness and the amount of willingness that she's going to put into this. I can't remember the English word, but the amount of effort that she's going to put into this interview. And now you got to compete somehow, right? And you're sitting there in your lazy boy. I'm thinking you're going to compete with that woman. And she said, I'm ready to take any job as an engineer that pays 6 figures. I don't even care what it is, remote, not remote, and I'm out. So I'm like, holy macaroni, that's some willingness to go above and beyond. And I'm not telling you to do exactly what she's doing, but you're now seeing behind the scene what other people are willing to do. And now you're like, I'm not willing to move. I'm not willing to move. I'm not willing to do this and that. Then don't. But don't come crying in the comment section and say that you're going to that you're going to lose your house or anything else when these other people are moving across states that she said she's going to fly out for a week for the interview without her husband and her 2 kids, and her husband's going to take care of it and do other stuff. This is what we're seeing right now. So just be super aware of where this is going. And is it going to change? Yes, everything changes. It's a cycle. Today's bad, tomorrow's good, tomorrow's in 2 days it's worse, and then in 6 months it's going to be the best time ever to get hired again. But we're not there, we're here, and today is not so good. If you're seeing people like that are willing to fly across the country for an interview of a 6-figure engineering job, I'm telling you, you need all the work that you can do. You need all the power that you can do and all the knowledge to get hired if you need it. If you're retired, don't even worry about it. Just sit back, relax, drink some iced tea on the back porch and say, I'm done. But most of you aren't, just like me. I'm not done, I'm still in it. So you gotta really, really work and figure it out and see how you can be a contributing member of society and get out of underneath that unemployment and start being hired again, because it's tough. So this was it for this video. First day back. I know this was a later thing because I just drove back from Park City. If you haven't, please like and subscribe. And now I'm back in Las Vegas. It's gorgeous. It was raining in Park City. It was nasty. But hey, I'm back. And I didn't bring any long pants. I only have shorts. So living the fully southern lifestyle with all the shorts, no sweaters, nothing, just a little rain jacket that I was like, oh, it's gonna rain 20% chance, and it freaking rained like crazy for 2 days. So I'm back. You'll see more of my videos. Let me know what you all think. I think I'll do a live tomorrow. We'll chat. And yeah, I love you guys. You guys are amazing. Keep your resume updated. Keep networking. If you're looking for a job and you can't find one, if you've been looking for months, shoot me an email. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Maybe I can help. See what's going on, and let's get you hired. I appreciate it.